When you're staring at a loading screen, it feels like your PC is just killing time. But behind that stagnant progress bar, your CPU is actually working harder than it will during almost any other part of the game. It's easy to assume that loading a level is just, moving files from your SSD into memory, copying over textures, models, and audio. And that's part of it, sure. But assuming that's the whole story completely ignores the heavy lifting your processor has to do before a single frame is even rendered. Think about loading into a highly dynamic, destructible map, like, say, the ones in the finals. Your GPU is incredibly fast, but it's essentially blind, right? It really only understands geometry and color. Your CPU has to provide all the context. Before you can play, the CPU has to build what engineers call a spatial data structure. It's essentially this invisible skeleton of the map that defines relationships. It calculates what objects can collide, which walls can be blown apart, and how audio should naturally bounce down a specific hallway. Without this structural blueprint being established during initialization, your graphics card wouldn't even know where to put its rendered triangles. This is exactly why having a blazing fast Gen 4 SSD doesn't automatically mean your loading screens will just disappear. Delivering data quickly is one thing, but processing it is another. Game files are heavily compressed to keep install sizes manageable, meaning your CPU has to kind of frantically decompress all those assets on the fly. In fact, engineers realized CPUs were becoming such a major bottleneck during loading that technologies like Microsoft's direct storage were developed specifically to help manage how that data gets unpacked. While it's decompressing files, your processor is also multitasking heavily. It's setting up physics systems, loading collision meshes so you don't fall through the floor, and just constantly talking to your GPU to prep shaders. If you've ever experienced a frustrating stutter, right as the match begins, you've seen this process fail to finish on time. Tech outlets like Gamers Nexus and Digital Foundry have documented this heavily. That initial hitch is usually just shader compilations spilling over into live gameplay. It's basically your CPU trying to finish its homework while the test has already started. What's genuinely fascinating about this whole process is that your PC doesn't just cache the map and remember it for your next match. Because game states, player spawns, and environments change dynamically, your CPU has to start over and rebuild the spatial logic completely from scratch, every single time you queue up. So if you've ever wondered why upgrading to a processor with more cores suddenly chopped your load times in half, well, this multi-threaded initialization is the exact reason why. By reverse engineering what actually happens during a loading screen, it becomes pretty clear that it's not just a passive waiting room. It's this massive, invisible construction site where your processor is frantically assembling the rules of the world, right before you step into it.